Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar about what you need to know for today's remote workforce. Just before we get started, a brief introduction. My name is Esther, and I'm the Operations Manager here at RCS Professional Services. And before I jump in and tell you a bit about Norman, our primary speaker today, I just want to tell you a little bit of housekeeping, and first a brief introduction about RCS. So we're an IT managed service provider, which means that we help other small businesses with their IT, technology, cybersecurity, and related needs. We're a full suite IT company, and we're based in New York City and Atlanta metro area. So without further ado, there we go. I'd like to present Norman Dweck, our Chief Information Officer and Cybersecurity Solutions Architect. And Norman, before we see your face, I do want to just let everyone know that right now we have you all muted. Oh, there you are. Hello. We have you all muted right now, just for the sake of being able to hear one another, but feel free to use the little hand raise button to let us know you have something to say, and or put it in the questions box, and we'll make sure to address any questions or comments throughout the webinar. This is meant to be interactive, and we love hearing from you, so please make use of that. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Norman Dweck. Like I said, Norman's our CIO, Cybersecurity Solutions Architect. He's been doing this for over 20 years, so almost longer than I've been alive, plus a few. And he's fantastic. Some of you may have heard him already. I know every time I talk to Norman, and it's been over 6 years at this point, I learned something new. So we're really excited to have him and make use of the hour or half hour, wherever we're at with Norman. So, hey Norman, welcome.
Blushing. Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
So, yeah, let's get right into this. Because, we've all been working from home for a while, so let's get going on what we're seeing out there. So firstly, before we do anything, let's start off with a couple of surveys. I want to see where people are at. So the first one is going to be, what is your company's current situation? And the answers will be self-explanatory, so just answer as you're ready.
You gotta get some of that whole music.
So just click your answer, click submit. Give it a second here. All right, and let's see, I can share the results with you guys. So that was 50-50. We're all remote and hybrid work environments, so it looks like no one's really fully back in the office, although I have spoken to a couple of friends who surprisingly are fully back in the office. So I wonder how long that's going to last for. All right, let's move on to the next one. We've got, what is the long-term plan?
Yes, assuming you know it.
Okay, almost there. All right. And what did we get? Let's see. Hybrid, and some in the office, and some don't know. Okay, so no one has said we're ditching the office entirely. That's interesting. Let's move on with that and get to our content here. Okay, so that's big. I really need to see myself that big, do I? Yes, gotcha. Okay, here we go. So let's see. First thing, let's start out with what's going on at home. So you've got your computer at home. One thing I want to talk about important is security. Okay, so there's that computer at home. There's a lot of things going on with that computer at home. Things like, I don't know, is it a good computer? It may be some old crappy computer that's not awesome and hasn't been updated, and who knows what's going on with it. It's got kids' games on it. I don't know what, but that sort of thing could happen, and that could slow you down. As far as the security goes, antivirus, please, you must have antivirus, and try to update as much as possible. So update your apps, update Windows, get everything updated, because why? because that's what the hackers look for. It's those updates that are not installed that are the ways, often the ways hackers get in. So now that's this third point here about company issued devices. This is key because those first two things that I talked about, if you're a business owner and someone's working on their home computer, you kind of don't know about that. You don't really know, is their computer fast enough? I mean, if they open up a browser, so you call them and you say, I need this piece of information, and they have to open up a browser tab and it takes them like a minute, yeah, that computer's probably too slow, but who knows? You really wouldn't know that because you don't know anything about that computer because that's the computer at home. Same thing with security. You don't know if that computer has got security. But if you've got company issued devices, and we do have some clients that actually insist on everybody outside their organization, outside the office using company issued devices, you can take care of a lot of those things. One, you know how powerful the machine is, you know what it is. You were the one who supplied it, so you know exactly what that machine is. And as far as security goes, IT, because you issued that device, IT can take care of that thing. It can monitor antivirus on it. It can push updates to it. If you've got that thing further on, if you've got that thing, if IT has that thing in an MDM, a mobile device management service software, you can then leverage all kinds of other things. Like you can make sure that the hard drive on that thing is encrypted in case that computer sort of takes a walk and gets lost. So that idea of company issued devices, important because it allows the company to see, to make sure that a computer is something that somebody's gonna be able to work on and be productive with. So moving beyond the computer into Wi-Fi. Okay, so you've got, we've dealt with the computer. Now we're going to deal with your connection to the internet because, well, you know, that's where everything is. Most everybody's using Wi-Fi. It's a rare few who actually are wired into their router. If you're wired into the router, great. Your router should be decent enough to provide the security you need at home as far as talking to the internet. But your Wi-Fi, that's a wonderful way in to your network if it's not secure. So make sure your network, your Wi-Fi is secure. What do I mean by that? Make sure it's got a password. If you connect to your Wi-Fi for the first time, you don't need to put in a password, that's not secure because that means that anybody who can see your Wi-Fi can get on your network. And if they can get on your network, you've got a problem because they can theoretically hack into the stuff on the network, like your computer. And then we see this one often, coverage. This is not a security thing. This is just plain, I don't want to go out of my mind because my computer isn't connected to the Wi-Fi. I open who knows what, and I'm watching and I'm waiting for my computer. I'm like, what's going on? Why isn't my computer reacting? And then you look at your little Wi-Fi thing and you realize, oh, I don't have full, I don't have full bars. So my computer is struggling to connect to the Wi-Fi. This is actually an easy fix on Wi-Fi coverage. Well, it's an easy fix, just buy the right device. And gone are the days of old when you'd have one Wi-Fi device and if your house or wherever you lived, wherever you were too big, you had to get all kinds of other weird devices that it was impossible to get them to work. They were extenders, you have to wire them into the network in the next room, big problems. But now, we've got what's known as mesh Wi-Fi. And mesh Wi-Fi is great for the home. You basically buy these little Wi-Fi boxes and you can put them all over the place. They talk to each other, they configure themselves, and you connect one to your router and you put the others wherever you want in the house, and they work it all out. It's a mesh system, so they're all talking to each other, and they allow good coverage for Wi-Fi wherever you are, which is great. A couple of ones you can probably take a look at. Google Nest, great item, includes Google Assistant if you're interested in that. Eero is a great one. I think Amazon bought that. In fact, if that's the one, then they just updated it last week to include Wi-Fi 6. Anybody doesn't know what Wi-Fi 6 is? That's the next iteration of Wi-Fi. Faster Wi-Fi. So if that's something that's important to you, yeah, you might want to get on it now, but you're probably just fine with the Wi-Fi, this generation of Wi-Fi. Anybody have any questions on that before I move on to connecting to the office? Okay, good. Okay, so connecting to work resources. Something about working at home. Carve yourself out a good space. Like I tend to like to stand, so I've carved out a space in my apartment where I can stand and be comfortable, where things aren't like interrupting me and stuff. So if you can do that, do that. Great.
Thinking no kitchen
So,
table. No.
what was that?
No kitchen table, you're saying?
Oh my God, the kitchen table. I watched my sister-in-law try to work from the kitchen table for a month. It's like everybody walks into the kitchen every 5 seconds. If you want to be interrupted, that's where you should sit. Wow. Something else I've done actually is now that I don't commute, right? What's my commute? I go from my bedroom to this room. Now that I don't commute, I still wake up at the same time, and I've taken that commute time and decided to do something with it. And for me, it's doing yoga or going out for a ride. I try to do something active with that time. So it's great. Like it's like this found gift of it was time that I was using for commuting. Now I don't have it anymore, so I still have that time that I can do something with, do some whatever, self-care, self-improvement, who knows what. For me, it happens to be exercise, which is great. Go out for a ride, go for a walk, go to, do yoga, I don't know, exercise in whatever way you do it.
Just for the record, Norman insists that everybody can do yoga. So Norman, what was that app you were telling me about? Sounded awesome.
Oh yeah, Esther and I were having a conversation just a bit ago about, she thinks she's not flexible and therefore can't do yoga. That's not the thing. I'm the most inflexible person on the planet. Everybody can do yoga. It has nothing to do with flexibility. It's nothing to do with strength. It's nothing to do with coordination. It's your practice. Do it. If you want to do it, but don't be put off by like, oh, I can't do it. No, everybody can do yoga. Yoga works for everybody. If you can't get into a certain shape, that's fine. Get close to it. Work it out. And the app I use is called Down Dog. It's great. It's an app that you put in whatever you want as far as how long you want to practice for, what you want to focus on, and it makes a routine for you, and you actually follow along as a person talking to you of what, saying what to do, and you're seeing someone do it, which is great. So it's been great for me. You can, get your practice going, not practice.
I actually came across an awesome app that I started using. Just you get like 2 minutes of leadership quotes every morning. That's my yoga. So it's called Bunch, B-U-N-C-H. It's free, and it's like every day a leadership tip or quote. If anyone's interested in that. Yeah.
By the way, if you guys are doing anything, throw them into the questions chat. I'd love to see what you guys are up to. Okay, so ways to connect to the office. So now we've dealt with the home. Now we're going to connect to the office. So let's move into the first one, remote control. So remote control is it's one of these one of these great things as far as IT goes. Why? Because it's super easy to set up. It's easy for a user to set up. It's easy for IT to set up. And what it means is you're using your computer at home to remotely control your computer in the office. That's why it's easy setup. It's your computer in the office. It's got everything set up for you already. It's that same computer that you were using the whole time. So it is set up for you. All you're doing is using a piece of software to connect from this computer to that computer and remotely control that computer. So those are the two pros you see there. It's it's your computer, so it's set up. It's got your email. It's got everything you're used to. It's easy setup. Of the negatives, things like your computer has to be on in the office. If it's not on the office, there's nothing to connect to, and that's a problem. For us, when we saw quarantine coming, luckily we were able to see it coming and realize that everyone was going to be working from home. We quickly created a system where our users would be able to remotely connect to their computers in the office and be able to use their computers in the office, which was great because when lockdown came, we just flipped the switch and said, everybody, this is the way you connect to your computer in the office. As far as the computer having to be on, what we did was we ran a script and set all the computers to never go to sleep, and also took out the thing in the start menu that allows people to shut them down, because we realized that people were going to shut down their computers. So we were left with computers that were on all the time, unless we restarted them to do updates, and computers that users could not shut down, so they couldn't like, oh, screw this up, which was great. So yeah, computer has to be on. It's one user per machine. In other words, I can't have 10 people connect to one computer in the office. It's one person connecting to their computer. So every person needs a single computer in the office. It feels like you're working on a machine, in a remote machine. It's not as responsive as what you're feeling at home. And there's a monthly charge for these services. Things like, what are they? Logs Me In, TeamViewer, for us, Screen Connect. There's a monthly charge for these things.
You know what's funny, Norman? We get so many people like who've been calling in lately with issues, and a lot of times it's just due to them using the wrong form of connectivity rather than the actual product. So it's a good point. Good to know.
Yeah, there's like there's a landscape here in connectivity, and each because it's got their pros and cons. And so here we are with VPN. VPN is the idea of I connect to my computer here, makes a tunneled connection to the network in the office. So what am I connecting to? I'm not connecting to a computer in the office. I'm connecting to the network itself. The nice thing about VPN is it's cheap. Any network, any office network probably has already has the software and hardware needed for to set this up. And all you need to do is, as IT, just needs to set it up and then go to everybody's machine and set those machines up. That's actually on the con side, because it's an involved setup. You got to get the users on the phone and get onto their computers and set up the VPN from their side. So on the network side, it's cheap and easy to set up. On the user side, yeah, there's a bit of involved there that IT needs to get on there and going. The nice thing about this, as opposed to remote control, is my computer is connected directly to the office network. So I'm not tying up a computer in the office. As many computers as I need can connect to the computer in the office. I'm using my computer at home, not remotely controlling another computer, so I'm not tying up anything. The bad about this, and this one's a very big bad, you can infect the network in the office. Because you're connecting to the network in the office, you're like a computer in that office. So if your computer has a virus on it, yeah, that virus can make the jump from your computer to the network. Very bad. Things like database applications don't often run well in this scenario. So you've got your line of business application. I'll tell you what, there's a simple one, which is QuickBooks. You have QuickBooks sitting, your QuickBooks file sitting on the server, and you're using QuickBooks off your computer at home. It will work, but if you get disconnected in the middle, you may corrupt that file and corrupt the QuickBooks company. Not awesome. And it's that same scenario with some line of business applications that are database applications. You're kind of chancing it, and you may lose some information along the way. That last one, more authentication steps. Yeah, it's I got to connect to the office, so I've got to go and I got to do that on my computer and put in that username and password. Then I got to connect to whatever resource I'm connected to in the office. There's another what's it called? Another credential, putting in my credentials. And then everything I need to connect to, I need to put in those credentials all over again. So there's a bunch of authentication that needs to happen, and it often ends up with a call to us in IT because one of those went wrong. Moving on to software as a service. This one we love. Why? Because, well, let me talk about what it is first. So software as a service is things like Dropbox, Box, any cloud file storage. QuickBooks Online is software as a service, right? If you use QuickBooks Online, you go to a web page and you connect to QuickBooks. You don't have to know anything about servers or where the files are. You just go and you open up a web browser and you connect to QuickBooks Online. Same thing with Dropbox. Your files are in the cloud. They're not in a server at the office, so you can access those files from anywhere. So the nice things about software as a service is It's easy to set up. Like Dropbox, you just install the app on your computer and you log in, boom, you're there. Like, you know what? Software as a service, you guys all probably have this software as a service, and it is your email. You're using Office 365, using Gmail, all of those things, they're all software as a service. They're not running on a server in the office. They're running on servers in the cloud. All you need to do is open up whatever device it is and connect to that and use it. So they're accessible from anywhere. Doesn't matter where my computer is or where even my devices, right? Multiple devices. Dropbox, I can use my computer, I can use my iPad, I can use my phone, I can use all these different things. I don't need to back up any of these things anymore. So computers in the servers in the office, if I have my files on a server in the office, I need to back up those things. I can tell you, backup costs money, and it's like money a month. Every month it's costing me money. Brutal. Especially if you have a ton of files to back up, that gets pretty expensive. And then server infrastructure. I don't need to run server infrastructure if everything's in the cloud. All I really need is just to connect to the cloud, and I've got my stuff. So I don't have to run file servers. I don't have to run database server. I don't have to have a server where my QuickBooks file is sitting. I don't have the Sage server. I don't have to have any of these things, which is great. The cons, monthly fees. Yeah, each of these services cost money, and they cost money per user per month most of the time. So yeah, there's a charge there. I mentioned the idea before about having to authenticate to a bunch of different things. Well, if you have 3-4 different software as a service things, then you've got 3-4 different passwords. The nice thing here is to leverage single sign-on. So single sign-on is the idea that I use one sign-on to access all of these devices. And we use it here at RCS. We use Azure AD, and we use that sign-on so for all of our systems. So when we go to our ticketing system, it prompts me with the Microsoft logon, not the ticketing system's logon, which is great because A, I only have to remember one username and password, and B, I get to leverage Microsoft's security on that. And that's really, like, as far as IT goes, that's the winner as far as for SSO. I can leverage Microsoft's security. They're thinking security, I can leverage that. The guys that make a ticketing system, they're not thinking security, they're thinking of how to make a ticketing system. So single sign-on, great. It feels different than on-prem apps. Yeah, it does. You have your file server, right? You go and you click on the F drive, and you know what that looks like because you've done that for a while now. This feels different. Your files are in a kind of a different spot. They're on your computer, and you click on them and go. Yeah, though the experience is different than what you would have with server infrastructure and connecting from the office. And then, and this is a big one, targeting. They're a target of phishing attacks. My God, are they a target of phishing attacks? You'll get that email that says, oh, this is a Dropbox, who knows what, and it looks like an email from Dropbox, and you click on the login, and boom, they've now given your Dropbox credentials to some outside, some hacker. So with these services, you really need to be, you need to be vigilant about phishing all the time. With these services, you especially need to be vigilant. Some things that are important here, use MFA, multi-factor authentication. Even if your username and password gets out into the wild, you are theoretically okay. Why? Because you've got, it's gonna, when you log in, it's gonna ask you for another factor of authentication. Like you'll have to say yes on your phone. You have to type in a code. It can be a little annoying. The way I've got it set up, it's not annoying at all. I just click yes on my phone and I'm away. But it's super important. And again, SSO would help with this also because you're leveraging the security, Microsoft, well, in our case, Microsoft security, to protect those logins. And then lastly, we've got VDI terminal server. So this is for the company that really wants to control everything in the environment. The example I know of, or say it's two things. One, you want to control everything in the environment, and two, there's a ton of different software to deal with. So for example, an accounting client, they've got, I don't know, they've got 14 different tax softwares. They've got their file systems. They've got document management systems. My God, they have a ton of different software that needs to run. So for them, it's difficult to do software as a service because there's so many different things, and most of those softwares don't exist in the cloud. Remote control would work, but if you wanted to really go remote and work from home, this is the way you could do it. And what it is you're basically setting up a server somewhere that all the users connect to, and from there can run anything they want. So it kind of feels like remote control because you're sort of controlling another machine, but you have everything. You have everything you need to run to do your work. VDI is virtual desktop infrastructure, virtual desktop infrastructure. It's kind of it's related to terminal server. It's the idea that, imagine I took an office, I took 10 computers, put them somewhere in the cloud and said, okay, great, Norman, you're connecting to computer 1. Esther, you're connecting to computer 2. And all of those computers are set up to connect to our servers in the cloud, as if I made one little network in the cloud, and everything talks to each other, and everything's enclosed in that cloud. And that's the really nice thing about this. You can make a whole system where everything is enclosed in that one compute environment. And so I'm not dealing with home computers. I don't know what's going on with the home computer. I don't really care. All I need that computer to do is connect to that remote environment. I don't really care about that home computer because you're going to be using that remote environment. So you have control over the whole environment, everything. It's all enclosed. You can make it so that nothing can get out and nothing can get in. Nothing can get out, nothing can get in, exactly. Business has control over the compute. What does that mean? It means, remember that thing I said before where I don't know if the computer at home is some slow 10-year-old computer? With this, I know the computers because I'm the one setting them up. The business, the IT person. I know the terminal server. I know how powerful it is. I know those VDI machines because I know how powerful they are because I set them up. Database applications, yeah, works great in this sense because it's like you're connecting to this little network. The whole thing is accessible from anywhere. With Microsoft's cloud, you just need a remote desktop client, which you can download and put on a phone if you want to, computers, iPads, everything. And you can access this from any computer. The con here, and this is a big one, this one's expensive. All of that compute, it adds up, and this is definitely an expensive one. It's not prohibitively expensive, but it's certainly not as cheap as some of the others out there. So you really got to know if this one's going to work for you. Yeah, the environment requires a lot of setup to begin with. That whole setting up the VDI infrastructure, it takes a lot of setup. But once you've got it going, it's great. And if there's a problem, and we do have to deal with this. If there's a problem, it often requires a call to the help desk because you can't. Me as the user, I can't say, oh, I want to restart that machine. I don't have access to that because those aren't my machines. So it often requires a call to the help desk in order to fix those problems. So which one works for you guys? Do I have a poll about that? Let's see. Oh, wait, I do have a poll. What is this? If you're working remotely, which option best describes how you currently connect? Okay, let's give that a shot. Yeah.
Hopefully people will know after that presentation.
Okay, gonna give this one more second here. Oh, yes. Woo, woo, woo. Votes are taking off now. One more second was key. Wow. Okay, we'll close this poll, share these results. Let's see. Oh, people are using VPN. Nice. I hope you guys are having a good experience on that because that could be interesting. Once we get it going, VPN's good. It's just getting it going sometimes. A lot of training stuff. Done for the service. Glad to see that one. I don't know. All right. Okay. So, Esther.
Yeah, thanks, Norman. It was great. We're right at the bottom of the 30 minutes. This is Yeah,
we're gonna go.
nice amount of people on, but a very quiet audience. If anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, whoever said they don't know, we're happy to check that out for you if you so wish, following. But in the meantime, I'll take a minute just to tell you about some upcoming events and resources we have for you. So our next webinar is going to be next week, I believe already, is October 7th. That's going to be with our partners at Microsoft. They're fantastic. They're going to be speaking to M365, safe and secure. So a bit of Microsoft environment and security. It's a great topic, very important, relevant now. So we recommend you join us there. We're also hosting our second episode of Tech Talks, which is.
Yes, sorry. Before you go on to Tech Talks,
Yeah.
just realized, by the way, that first thing, that's Microsoft giving those webinars. They just did one, was it yesterday, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
On Teams, and it's great. It's Microsoft, it's the guys themselves giving those webinars. It's great. So that's the first one. And then go, Tech Talks.
Thanks. So Tech Talks, this is one of our newer events. So basically we have Norman and our team lead on the tech side, Tim, who's not on this webinar, but will be on that one. He's also fantastic. And we're going to be answering any questions, anything related to things we talked about today, or just your general tech questions. Basically an hour of free, I don't want to say tech support because you're getting actually high level strategists, but it is can be tech support too. So we invite you to join us there. And finally, October 28th, we're doing another webinar on the Microsoft phone system. We've been doing a lot with Teams, and we're happy to share those too upon request. But this one is specifically catered to the phone system, which we're using now and absolutely love. It's fantastic, super efficient. So feel free to check them all out. It's all free. We want to help. So please check back with us. Any information or to sign up, the email address is there, rsvp@rcsprofessional.com. And I also have some other resources here that are up on our website under our news tab about managing remote teams, what the workforce might look like now and moving forward. So feel free to check that out. We want you to be on the up and up. So we're putting out new content daily, weekly, and so forth.
And the Tech Talks one, it's great because, well, yeah, get me. Tim is on. Tim is awesome at this. Yeah, he's great. And we answer like high level questions that you probably always wanted to ask somebody, you know, some tech person. This is your chance. And yeah, Tim's really, he's awesome. I love talking with Tim.
Sweet.
Is there any questions?
Well, let's take a look. Sure, we got one question. Thank you, Amanda. No worries. Are you a fan of OneDrive for remote access to docs?
Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. So, I'm actually a fan of Dropbox, Box, OneDrive. I like them all. The nice thing about OneDrive is if you have Office 365 email, you might already be paying for OneDrive, which is great because it gets expensive. You have to pay for Office 365 and something like Dropbox. But OneDrive is great. We use it. And it's kind of a twofold thing. So think of OneDrive as your personal files, so your personal computer, your personal office business files, and then there's SharePoint, which is like the Teams files. That's like the shared folder for everybody. So it's like Microsoft's technology is a twofold thing. It's OneDrive and SharePoint, and leveraging both is great. SharePoint, OneDrive, you got your own files. SharePoint, you've got the shared files with the company, for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, Norman. That was a great question. Let us know if you have any follow-up or now or after. Thanks for that. Any other questions? We'll wait another minute or two in case anyone else thinks of anything they want to ask.
Oh, here's one. Let's see. Which connection method is the best for most companies? So as far as most companies go, the thing we like to see the most, so let me take a step back. It really is about what works for your company as far as what you need, okay? If the technology that you need is simple and available in a software as a service, cloud hosted form, yes, my God, it's so great, the cloud hosted stuff and software as a service, because one, it just works. And two, it's accessible from everywhere. And it's like, I can work from wherever, what computer, it doesn't matter. It's just so accessible and easy. But if you have a system that's got like database servers and this software and that software, yeah, you might want to look at something like remote control, which is easiest, your computer's already set up in the office, or something like a terminal server, VDI, because that allows you to run it all and have your set up the environment the way you need and have everything enclosed in that environment. Hope that answers that question. What else do we got?
Awesome. Seeing anything else come in here? I did just drop the links to the articles I mentioned in the chat box, so feel free to click on those if it's of interest. And I think we can just put my contact information up on the screen in case anybody wants to reach out.
Another one here. What should I do if I think I infected our company? Don't tell anybody. No. What you really should do is, firstly, disconnect. Please disconnect from the VPN. And secondly, inform IT as soon as possible. And then thirdly, I would disconnect your computer from whatever network. So if you're on Wi-Fi, then turn off the Wi-Fi in your computer. Don't turn off the Wi-Fi in your house. Turn off the Wi-Fi on the computer or shut down the computer. But for sure, get in touch with IT as soon as humanly possible, because it's not a binary thing. It's not like my network is infected or it's not infected. It's often network is infected, but it's taking time for that infection to actually do its damage. So the sooner you get to IT, the better off everybody is, because IT can jump on and stop the infection.
Cool. Sounds great.
Right.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for taking time to join us. I hope this was helpful. We loved your feedback, comments. They help us inform what we do next. So please keep those coming now or later. And that's pretty much it. Stay safe, everyone. Stay productive, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Right. Bye, everybody.